Okay, welcome to this meeting of the decision session for the Executive Member for Finance and Performance. I'm joined today by the Executive Member for Housing and Safer Neighbourhoods, Councillor Craghill. Item 1 on the agenda is declarations of interest. I have no declarations. Do you, Councillor Craghill?
I don't.
Item 2 is to approve the minutes of the decision session held on the 18th of January. I'm happy to agree those as a correct record, and I'll sign those when I have opportunity at West Officers. Item 3, public participation. We have nobody registered to speak today, so we'll go straight to the substantive item 4, which is the winter grants funding, and I'll hand over to Pauline.
Thank you, Chair. On Sunday, the 8th of November 2020, the government announced a package of extra targeted financial support for families and individuals in need over the winter period. And this grant was meant to last to the 31st of March. It was meant to assist with the cost of food, energy and water bills and other associated costs. The government, however, have acknowledged that the grant could be used to support offering free school meals during holiday periods for those that are entitled to free school meals during term time. The total of the funding allocation for York was £416,729. York, along with many other authorities, allocated an element of the budget, in our case £200,000, for free school meals holiday purposes, as no further similar funding was due from the DFE until April 2021. And we've had confirmation that there will be funding for food during the holiday activities from the 1st of April. Other authorities that have chosen to do this include Sheffield, North Yorkshire County Council, Barnsley, Leeds, Calderdale, Cheshire East, and further afield, Gateshead, Ealing, Essex, Waltham Forest, and many, many more. Take up of the element of the grant for families and individuals for food and bills has been very high, and without additional funding being found, we would need to close this scheme within the next few weeks. If I can refer you to table 1 at paragraph 6, this is now a couple of weeks old, and just to give you up-to-date figures on the spend, we've now spent £140,700 on food, which is an increase of £13,000 just in that short time. We've spent £66,944 on utility bills. That's an increase of £7,000 on last time. And we're currently at a total spend of £210,000, which is 97% of the budget. So without doubt, we would have run out of money this week, or we will do if no further decision is made on this. We've made 818 awards now. 115 families have been paid twice during that period, which means we've helped in total around 700 families. We would encourage families, if this grant, further extension to the grant is approved, to come forward to claim to make sure that they can be well supported through this winter period. In terms of how we're suggesting that we do this, if you recall, Executive last year contributed an extra £1 million to the Council's York Financial Assistance Scheme, which already had £200,000 in it. So £1.2 million has been dedicated to supporting families in hardship throughout the period. The existence of the winter grant scheme has actually relieve some pressure on that scheme. So we feel that this is an appropriate use of the York Financial Assistance Scheme, as this was the reason it was set up. So it is suggested that you utilise that funding to extend this particular scheme. As we are still only halfway through February, and apart from 1 week in March, all of the school meal funding is spent, and as you can see, 97% of the other funding has been spent. We do recommend that this approval is made as urgently as possible, so that we can continue to supply at least 1.5 months more support to our families in York. And the recommendation is for you to do so, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. I'll Open up for questions or comments. Councillor Cracknell.
Yeah, thank you. I've just got one question and then a very brief comment. You said, Pauline, that the government's confirmed the free school meals support for holidays from the 1st of April going forwards. I just wondered if you could clarify what the thinking is about the other part of the demand that, you know, as you said, is quite high, and although it's called winter grants, quite a lot of what we've been providing has been for food. We do still have some provision, don't we, that can go beyond 1st of April. What are we thinking in that respect? Could you just clarify?
Yes, Councillor Craghill, we've got around, we estimate around 425,000 left in the York Financial Assistance Scheme, and we've certainly been using it for that purpose in the past. In fact, in the first lockdown, the York Financial Assistance Scheme was used for food parcels, for exactly the reason you were talking about. But because we extended the criteria to cover wider hardship earlier in this year to include anybody, not just those on benefits, we can offer that continued support into next year.
Thank you. Yes. So I suppose my comment is that obviously I very much welcome the fact that we can do this, that we're able to put this additional funding in where the government funding has fallen short. And I'm glad that we have that extra million allocated in the Financial Assistance Fund. And I think my only other, so obviously I do support the proposals. I think my only other comment is that it just highlights how the support from government, although it's welcome, it's still insufficient, and above all, it lacks in continuity, and moving from one funding programme to another when you're not even sure when the next one is coming is not really the best way. So, you know, I would really like to see the government providing more consistent ongoing support, but certainly very happy to approve this proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Cracknell. I think you've covered most of the points I would have made. It's just yet another example of where we were promised we would get government support and they would give us everything we need, and in reality they give us sort of 70 to 80% of what's actually required, and then it's down to us to sort of fill the gaps in. And glad that we were able at the beginning of the pandemic to put that £1 million aside, which has allowed us to have that sort of cushion that has allowed us to support people at the point when the government funding has let us down yet again. So I think with that, I'm very happy to support the recommendation as it is at paragraph 8 on page 9. Happy to do that. Okay, and I have no urgent business. So with that, I'm happy to declare the meeting closed.